Welcome to the Create with Katrina Julia show by Fit Life Creation, where we talk all the things on wellness, faith, marketing, business, and travel to create a life and business you love. I've been there, friend. I've walked from fear to faith, self-hate to love, corporate to calling, and bondage to freedom, along with transformation in every area of my life. I'm right here with you, walking along on my own path to creating. So tune in so that you learn how to create a life and business you love, hands-on. Let's create it. The Create It Online Summit is open now for a free preview. Here's to CEOs who crave creating community and cash. You will love this free preview where I give you sneak peeks into workshops, behind the scenes, tips, tools, and tech with faith, wellness, marketing, business, travel, and communities for a true binge-worthy experience to create it like a boss. Click the link in bio to register now. How to be a queen, embracing femininity and masculinity in a modern world. So this episode comes on the heels of my last episode of calling all the single ladies, just like Beyonce sings. In the beginning, I even did a little quick, all the single ladies, all the single ladies. Anyway, in a world that often categorizes femininity and masculinity as opposing forces, it's time to reclaim our power and embrace the full spectrum of our being. Being a queen means embodying both the strength of the feminine and the resilience of the masculine. It's about finding harmony and peace within ourselves and navigating the modern world with grace, confidence, and authenticity. In this show and the accompanying blog that will be posted within the next several days, I am exploring how to embrace your inner queen, balance femininity and masculinity, and step into your true power. I would be amiss to say that this episode does not come without pouring tons of wisdom into this brain and giving credit where credit is due in these areas. So, middle of last year, I started diving deep with Stéphane Labossiere and getting male perspectives on femininity. And then also, I invested in his book, Healing from Heartbreak, and did all the activities. And I still regularly review his daily affirmations for healing book as well. For example, the one I'm looking at right now is I release the need to think I have to know it all. And the positive affirmation is I am open to learning and growing in wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. The scripture study for this particular day is don't turn your back on wisdom, for she will protect you. Love her, and she will guard you. And then the daily prayer in this particular excerpt that he has is God, thank you for giving me the tools to change, renew, and purify my thoughts and mind. Show me your vision for my life. Align me to higher consciousness. I am done with the repetitive cycles I have dwelled in, which were caused by old thought patterns. All things new. It is done so. It is done, and so amen. And this is like my third or fourth time going through his book. Then I was led through the Heart of Dating podcast, which I also listen to sometimes as well with Kate. I discovered on her podcast on Heart of Dating, Rachel Sherrill, which leads the True Feminine Academy, which I have devoured all of her podcast episodes from probably maybe this February until June, and especially love the meditation one that you can tune into her True Feminine podcast. And I have hope and have prayed to hopefully be in her program this year, if not next. And I continue to read her juicy emails and tune in sometimes to her recordings on Instagram and or live and or on YouTube. Then, through the incredible algorithms and divine alignments, I was led to Lisa Bilyeu's episode where she featured R.C. Blakes. He's been married, I think, 20 plus years, and I feel like he's almost like the father that many of us women did not have. And it's so interesting from his own testimony that he shares avidly all the time. And he has such a gentle, gentle, gentle spirit. Like his video that I listened to earlier today, for example, was on being a soft queen boss. And also, some of the books that I have devoured probably January through March of this year were from, and back to R.C. Blake's. Ever since I discovered him, probably March of this year of 2023, I listened to his videos typically on average at least one video a week, at least. Then going back to January through March of this year. So my word for this year is I'm divinely disciplined, and Transformation Church's phrase is, our word is kingdom. And as I was reflecting on passion and purpose as the new year turned, and then my own phrase, kingdom also kept coming up, like living a kingdom life, living a kingdom lifestyle, having a kingdom family, being a queen in a kingdom, all these different things, right? So, no surprise, I was led to Dr. Tony Evans and his Kingdom series. I listened to his books on Kingdom Single, on Kingdom Woman, on Kingdom Wife, on Kingdom Man. So, I have devoured his Kingdom series and wisdom as well. And recently, through the YouTube algorithm, I came across Spicy Mari, which spicy stands for, I was listening to her episode with Connor yesterday, and I really, really liked in general, like her style and her both being absolutely a boss, but completely operating as herself unapologetically and boldly, Mari, and then also being completely in her feminine. And that is definitely something that, as I see myself wearing these bright pink, blue, green outfits, or as I've shifted in a lot of my communication, or oftentimes simply being silent or letting things go. Those are definite feminine aspects that I can tell you avidly I did not possess like 4 or 5 years ago at all. So spicy Mari. So spicy stands for self, passion, intimacy, communication, and yes. And those of you that know me know I love and am a huge fan of acronyms. So, these are some of the people that I have been listening to and devouring on top of Bible studies through Lifeway Summit, through attending Jackie Hill Perry's Glory event, through being surrounded by women that have great marriages and great friends that have great marriages. So, having living, breathing examples around me, as well as healthy and thriving single women, like I talked about in the last episode, and being part of incredible communities from B School to social curators to hosting retreats. Speaking of, definitely check that out for some of my upcoming events and retreats via the link in bio. So I would have been amiss not to share with you that where a lot of, this wisdom is coming from, and a lot of the time that I have chosen to invest in um, for the last year plus. Oh, and the other one I wanted to mention is Mel Wells. So she had a recent Queen series, And she talks about what divine archetype are you embodying right now. And I am proud to say that I am over 25% queen. And she has a beautiful soul, and she focuses on embodying leadership and intimacy for queens and relationships and more. So, those are just some of the ones that come to mind that I have avidly invested time and energy with, and some with finances, and also have some others coming up. Oh, and I've also been diving in with at Glow Graphics and her posts, and investing in her dating guide is on my list for 2023 to take the aligned action. Oh, and then also I took some aligned action, just so you guys know, I am walking this out with you as well, with Talkify, Tawkify, that I somehow discovered on Instagram. So I will be talking to them in July. And then I also submitted a profile on Spicy Mari's page, and then we'll schedule a call in July and or in August. So there is a lot of uncomfortability happening with my shifts in identity and worthiness and freedom and desires as well. So in a world that often categorizes femininity and masculinity, let's reclaim being a queen. So, one, embracing our feminine essence. Being a queen means fully embracing our feminine essence. What I've learned is it's more about being, it's more about resting, it's more about allowing and inviting, and learning to create and cultivate and in essence nurture our intuition, nurture our emotional intelligence, or EI, and our compassion. And that starts with us. And I don't know about you, friend, but being a woman that was raised, corporate man, etc., a corporate, like, male dominated industries, that was something that I avidly started to shift and learn circa 2015. And then cultivating that self love and those self care practices that honor our femininity and embrace that femininity, and embracing, the grace, the power of vulnerability, like Brene Brown talks about. If you would have told me years ago that I would share so many vulnerable things and transformation, I would have told you were nuts, because that wasn't me. That wasn't how I was raised, or that wasn't me at the time. That wasn't how I was raised, by two immigrant parents that, immigrated here, and being of Polish and Bulgarian descent. And then even in the culture, and then, in corporate at the time, right? Or even growing up at the time. And then embracing our, sensuality, and remembering that femininity is actually a strength that empowers us to connect deeply with others and create a nurturing and harmonious environment. And at the same time, too, embracing masculine strength. Neither is greater than the other, but it's recognizing the power in both of them. And when either one of them can serve us better and make things potentially easier or flow, or when we choose to tap into, as a woman, into the masculine strength. So, I talked about the video earlier where RC Blake's talked about being a soft boss. So, what he was sharing in that video was a lot about, yes, being in the masculine, but being softer in that feminine essence. So that's, with a man, it may be more of a decisiveness or an aggressiveness, versus as a woman, what I've come to embrace and learn is embracing the assertiveness. There's an assertiveness that can still be captured and cultivated as a woman and in our feminine, that it can look and be very different than if we're operating, in a dominant masculine, or how a man would express the same thing aggressively. And then being courageous and the ability to take that decisive action. And that's where it comes into play us cultivating, our resilience, our determination, and the capacity to overcome obstacles, and allowing that masculine energy within us as women to support us in setting boundaries, in pursuing our goals, and in fearlessly navigating challenges. And to remember to, by embracing our masculine side, does not diminish our femininity at all. It amplifies our power. The more I've learned about and sought wisdom and practiced, navigating between the feminine and the masculine, the more I've realized how powerful they both are, and they truly amplify our power. Silence speaks volumes, and you're not being or doing anything. And there is such power that I recognized in oftentimes now being silent, whereas 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I would have felt this deep need to express myself in a dissertation, with my dissatisfaction. And a lot of times now I just let things go. And even if I do something like once or twice, and then I realize, wait a minute, I'm operating in my masculine, let me just rest. Let me just release this. Speaking of, number 3, embracing the balance. Being a queen is about finding the balance between our feminine and masculine energies, and that can look different for us in different times and different seasons, and depending on what we're walking through and healing, and embracing the yin and yang within us. Seeking harmony in our relationships, in our growth, in our mission, in our vision, by understanding and being self-aware enough to recognize when it's time to be silent, when it's time to be receptive, when it's time to allow or invite, and when it's time to take charge and to lead. And years ago, I was the one that would always step up to lead, which is in essence, can be more masculine if that's all I'm ever doing. And now a lot of times I just sit back and I let somebody else pick up, and lead. And I find like it's so much more freeing, because years ago, before I lost 55 plus pounds, a lot of times I was so burnt out. So it's about cultivating a mindset that values cooperation, community, collaboration, and the strength that comes from blending both in all the energies, and remembering that true power lies in the integration of both aspects of our being. Speaking of, 4, owning your authenticity and who you were created to be. I talked a lot about this in the last episode on being and becoming whole, and being, that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Being a queen means embracing your authentic self unapologetically, and exploring that and creating that and cultivating that and celebrating your unique gifts, talents, abilities, and qualities. Embracing your individuality and the freedom to express yourself authentically in all areas of your life, the freedom to pursue or to be free in all forms: freedom of expression, time freedom, location freedom, community freedom, financial freedom, and not being afraid to challenge the status quo in your life, societal norms, cultural norms, familiar norms, expectations of those around you that may not align to who you're created to be. And in fact, you may be the one that is called to break the mold. Like Jamie Kerlima says, I'm not crazy. You're not crazy. You're just first. Your authenticity will inspire others and attract the exact right people and opportunities into your life. I'm a firm believer that the doors that are meant to open for you and for me, no man can shut. Speaking of, 5, surround yourself with a co-creative community. Being a queen is not a solo journey. Surround yourself with an incredible co-creative community of like-minded people who inspire, who influence, who impact you. Connect with them, connect with those who appreciate and celebrate your multi-passionate, multi-dimensional self, the ones that see You're crazy, your own unique brand of crazy, and love you for it, who see your value. Seek out the community, the friends, the mentors that encourage your growth and celebrate you and all that you are. Together, you may co-create an incredible collective that will support everyone. Dear Queen, you have the crown on your head. Keep your head held high. Don't let that crown fall. You have the power to embrace both femininity and masculinity and co-create an incredible life of authenticity, of adventure, of balance, of mission, of purpose, of vision. By embracing all of you, your full spectrum, you embody the essence of a true queen and allow and invite other queens to step into their power. Embrace your femininity. Tap into your masculine strength. Find the delicate balance, moment by moment, day by day, season by season, and surround yourself with an incredible co-creative community. Step into your power and rise into the queen that you are created to be. You are a queen, and the world is waiting for you to have your crown on. I would love it if you would leave a review on the show, because that helps more and more people know about Create It Like a Boss. If you choose to create or cultivate or implement anything that I am sharing on this episode or others, definitely tag me at Katrina Julia Fit, at Fit Life Creation. When you leave a review on the show, drop your handle or your website so I can make sure and shout you out. And as always, queens, remember, create, transform, and inspire. You are born to. Oh, and side note, I should have mentioned this at the beginning, but just in case, if you were a king, listen to this. You are a king and embrace all of you too. So, in any event, have an incredible day, and thank you so much for tuning in. All the chats on faith, wellness, money, marketing, business, and travel, so you create a life and business you already. Head on over to the blog, the podcast, and the freebies to jumpstart your transformation. If you're ready to dive into the online courses, the live events, or the retreat, and if you want to create with our community on an even deeper level, definitely check out our internships, our influencer collaborations, management, and brand engagement. Let's create it.